Timi. That's me, eating ice cream. I work for a company called Outbrain. Some of you might know it, some of you not. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. I've been in the industry for 15 and odd years. I've stopped counting a while back. And I'm really happy to be here today. I think it's a great initiative. I hope you guys are enjoying the day so far. Yes? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm with a company called Outbrain. Out of interest, I'd like to see a show of hands of who's actually heard of Outbrain before. Oh, that's a pretty, okay. That's a pretty, wow, 50% awareness, that's good. Okay, so for those of you who might not have seen us before, this is us. So on a premium publisher site like CNN, you might be reading this article and then you'll see a few different recommendations from CNN, recommending more of their stories to you guys. Yes? Yeah. And then equally, you might be recommended other interesting stories from brands and from other publishers who are trying to build a bigger audience and through content marketing. So this entire engine is actually powered by Outbrain. And so we're across about 500 publishers and as Nick says, TV brands around the world. So that's us. But today, what we wanted to do was talk very specifically about how video creators, particularly people in this room who are planning to produce long-form video storytelling, can leverage things like content discovery to find a bigger audience. But first, let's watch this video.
Hi, I'm Ricky Gervais, and I have 5 seconds before you skip ad. Don't skip ad. A skip ad, I don't care. You're probably watching something illegal on YouTube anyway. You disgust me.
All right, and that's what they had to do to promote on YouTube. And by the way, caveat, like we love the YouTube creators, so anytime I have a reference to YouTube here, it's to the skip ad bits that YouTube does. All right, so why did we show this? It's because ad formats like that, the 5-second skip ad thing on YouTube, the 15-second TV spot, the 30-second TV spot, they're pretty much ruling the video industry right now. If you've come from a traditional creative agency, is there anyone here from creative agencies like the big old networks that still do TV ads? No? You're okay? Okay, good. So every kind of video has to fit within like a TV spot, right? And now, like as you've seen with the Ricky Gervais thing, it has to fit within a 5-second YouTube pre-roll. And so what we actually believe is that kind of traditional ad format has started to kill storytelling. Because while we totally agree that it takes a huge amount of talent and creativity to produce content that fits within a 15-second spot, there are just a lot of stories out there that should get a lot more viewing time than 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You know, and we think long-form video is alive and well because of that. So if you were going to talk to any marketer, I think there's still TV advertising, as you saw from Matt's slides, is still getting bought a lot. You know, like we only spend 10% of marketing budget on digital, but that's going to change very quickly. We know that there's low growth with TV. We know that people don't really watch TV commercials anymore. There's low trust, and you know, there's low patience on TV ads. Equally, and this is data from our own network, we know that digital video is booming, especially on mobile devices. So if you look at the data here, you can see the growth from 2013 all the way up to 2015, and you can see how video consumption by device has just grown. And so obviously anything that you produce has to work on these platforms, and really has to be produced for these platforms first. Okay, and there's also studies that start to show that digital native video does have the same impact as TV. And so again, like I personally believe, and I think a lot of the professionals in the room today see that TV is going to start reducing in importance for marketers. It's already reduced in importance for a lot of the more forward-thinking marketers, and that trend is only going to continue. You know, and this is a really good study that BuzzFeed did just in Q4. I'm happy to send you the full link to the study if you'd like. But there are a lot more studies like this that are coming out, and we're certainly seeing it in terms of how effective online video is for building brand and growing your business. So then what options do brands have now? All right, so there's of course the TVC that we spoke about. That's your commercial break. It's a bit of a lean back experience, or really more like it's the time to go to the bathroom experience. There's pre-rolls on YouTube, which is a bit of a skip ad true view thing, like the Ricky Gervais Netflix example we just saw. There's Facebook, actually, which is pushing video a lot, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that from Fergus later. You know, it's about, you could run a TVC on it, but you really want to run something short that has the potential to get shared. There's an autoplay component to it, and the goal there is some social interaction. And so where something like Outbrain and content discovery fits in is more in the long-form video space. That's where we believe we add more value, we add a bit more value. It does provide the user a personalized experience, and it's a bit more lean-in. Okay, so these are all the options you might have. We're not saying one is better than the other. The idea is that you need to decide as part of your distribution planning what fits your objective the best. And really, it's going to be probably a combination of a lot of these things. Okay, but what we are also seeing is that more brands are taking the digital long-form approach. So these are just 3 examples, all brands in Singapore, all investing in long-term video channels. These are YouTube channels, but they're also available on their own sites. SK2, which we'll show you an example of in a bit, does a lot of video on their Change Destiny platform. Some of you might be familiar with that. Tiger's doing some interesting things, as is TBS, who actually produced a webisode series that was kind of half love affair, half use DBS for your banking. It's kind of interesting. You know, you can watch it on, I hope there's nobody here from DBS, but yeah, you can watch it on their YouTube channel and on the small business site that they have, actually. So what we did have for you today, actually, was the SK2, one of the SK2 videos, which we thought would be useful to show and useful to share.
저는 어렸을 때부터 시골에서 살았고 9살 때 서울에 올라왔는데 그때 처음으로 TV라는 걸 보게 됐어요. 그때부터 막연히 배우의 꿈을 갖게 된 것 같아요. 제가 맡은 모든 역할을 잘 소화할 수 있도록 많이 노력하고 있어요. 제가 작품 안에서 그 캐릭터와 하나가 되었다고 느낄 수 있게요. 배우라는 직업은 사람들의 어떤 이상이나 환상을 충족시켜주는 일이라고 생각을 해요. 그렇기 때문에 여배우로서 늘 좋은 컨디션과 아름다움을 유지할 수 있게 자신을 돌보는 게 정말 중요한 것 같아요. 촬영장에서의 스태프들은 제가 배역을 잘 소화할 수 있도록 저를 잘 챙겨주시고 아름답게 꾸며주시는 역할을 한다면 링 위에서의 스태프들은 그와는 완전히 반대로 제가 눈물이 나고 지쳐 쓰러질 때까지 극단적으로 몰고 가주시는 편이에요. 제가 진지하게 운동을 시작했을 때 많은 분들이 길게 하지 않을 거라고 그냥 이벤트일 거라고 생각을 하셨던 것 같아요. 하지만 그런 시선들이 저한테는 크게 중요하지 않았어요. 예전에 저는 어떤 일이든 끝까지 마무리 짓지 못하는 편이었고 또 어려운 일이 생기면 중간에 쉽게 포기를 했어요. 그런데 운동을 시작하고 선수로 처음 시합을 마쳤을 때 몸은 엉망이 되었지만 정말 뿌듯하고 행복했어요. 태어나서 처음으로 제가 스스로하고 한 약속을 지킨 기분이었으니까.
돌아.
저는 연기에서나 운동에 있어서나 후회 없이 최선을 다했기 때문에 많은 분들이 저를 선수로 기억하실지 아니면 배우로 기억하실지는 그분들의 몫인 것 같아요.
Okay, so that's SK2. So Change Destiny has been a platform for them since last year. And they probably produce one of these big video stories about once a month. So if you go on the SK2 site, you'll see all of them. And it's really interesting because they obviously have these in commercial form. And they have these in a 15-second form. But if you just saw that, how do you tell that entire story without giving it the right length of time it deserves? And so that's where a content discovery platform comes in, where you're not limited by ad formats on a video advertising platform. You host your content on your own hub, and you tell your story at the length that it should be told, and then you use the content discovery platform to find audiences who are interested in it and can go and watch the video on your own site. And that's really the most basic way of describing it. The cool thing with SK2 as well is it's obviously been done in a quite an authentic way, but still incredibly highly well produced. And that interesting combination always makes for an effective video. Okay, so why is this important? A content discovery platform also talks about interest rather than demographics. And I know that we all get a lot of briefs that start off with who our demographic target is. And if you applied that very basically to something like SK2 and you looked at this demographic target, you would say, yes, my demographic target for SK2 is someone who is age 18 to 45, maybe female, coming from this market. That's your basic demographic target, which does not really capture the right target audience for the brand, if you think about it. Because if you said that, then you'd have half the planet as your audience, which wouldn't really make sense. And so the other thing that content discovery does is it applies interest filters to any of the targeting that the platform does. So what do we mean by that? Let's say, so the interest graph really is a complement to the search graph, first of all. So obviously when we all search, we all know what we want, we go search for it, and that's what the search graph is. We know what we want. And then there's the social graph, which is about what people share. And so what the interest graph does is it actually complements that data by figuring out what people actually like to read and what people actually like to watch, regardless of whether they're searching for it and regardless of whether they're sharing it on social, which means you're actually understanding audiences on another level. And so it is driven by passions and interests. And so again, if you take the SK2 example, you're trying to reach someone who's not just female of a certain age. You're trying to reach someone who's interested in certain attributes that SK2 matches to. Okay, so to explain this in a bit more specific way, I'd like us all to participate in a bit of a show of hands, please. First question is, can you raise your hand if you're interested in going to Japan on vacation? Yes, thank you, Dawn. Okay, that's a lot. So then, if there were any airlines or the Japan Tourism Board or any kind of online travel agency or hotel in this room, they'd all want to reach all of us who just raised our hands, right? Okay, same example. Who's interested in upgrading your current phone or tablet? Again, a lot of people. So if there was Samsung or Apple or Xiaomi or Huawei in the room, same idea. And last one, who is interested in getting a workout without paying for a gym? Okay. Paying for the gym or the working out? Okay, so whoever just raised their hand, so there's an app that uses Outbrain called 8Fit, and that's exactly the exact target audience that they want. And in all those three examples, we wouldn't be able to reach any of those audience sets by just going for demographics, which is why you really want to try and use content to find the right audience based on what people are interested in. And again, that's what content discovery does. Okay, it's an algorithm that captures interest moments at scale. So what outdoor activities can we do while visiting Japan? Could be something that could be on someone's mind. Or should I switch from iPhone to Android, which has been a perennial question. Or maybe, how can I incorporate exercise into my daily schedule? And so, if we remember these three questions, then, if you were Skyscanner, then you could be writing content called for hiking in Japan, 15 awe-inspiring trails. And this is actual, real content that Skyscanner, the online travel site, produces on their global blog and actually amplifies through content discovery platforms. Or if you were Samsung, who are currently promoting the Galaxy S7, you might have these really awesome product reviews and product videos that all these tech bloggers are already producing, and you could be amplifying that on content discovery. Because who's going to click on this? It's someone with the frame of mind of, should I switch? Should I switch to Android? Should I switch to Android? And lastly, I mentioned the 8Fit fitness app. So they've actually invested in their own content hub, which is a blog that includes both articles and videos. And they're all about talking about health, but also equally, it drives app downloads specifically for them. And this is a very clear customer journey. People come to the 8Fit blog, they read the stories, they consume the videos, and they actually see, they can attribute app downloads directly to the content marketing efforts that they're doing. So there's a very direct business impact on them. So what this means is that brands can tap into the interest graph, and all you need is interesting, relevant content. And then that's then personalized for every reader, and that's where a content discovery platform can then help you get to the audiences that you truly, truly want. All right, so that's a very brief introduction. I wanted to share with you this video that shows you how one particular brand, in this case Visa, uses content discovery as part of an integrated program. What you're about to see here, first I apologize because it can be a bit salesy, but it does show you how a big brand combines content creation, content distribution, and content amplification into one integrated whole. And if those of you were here yesterday, do you remember Neil Moore? Yeah, so this is his company, Click2View, that actually works with Visa on all their content.
My name is Chris Lavoutlier. I'm the content director for Visa here in Singapore. Content marketing at Visa is very important because it allows Visa to tell their point of view to the public or to influencers around the region. The most important bit about content creation, like what we do, when you're telling a story, is that you need to work with somebody who's agile because a lot of things change, especially during a shoot. Often you're trying to capture a different message or you're trying to capture little bits of a story that isn't necessarily storyboarded. When we're running a production, we have to make sure that we work with somebody who works with us to make sure that we're getting what we need. We actually use a company called Click2View, and Click2View is helping us to be quite agile in our actual production process so that we can actually storyboard, create, and then produce a video that tells a story that we're trying to communicate to a specific audience. AP Newsroom is how we actually curate the content that we distribute across the region. So we keep our video stories, we keep our picture stories, written stories, slideshows, etc. all in one place. It's curated like a magazine. And then it's easy for us to distribute it out across different markets. Outbrain has really helped us really tell the story across Asia Pacific. I think at this point, I think we have something like 75,000 engaged people or viewers across the region who have actually looked at the content. In addition to that, it actually helps us see how long people are looking at the content, like what geographies are engaging with the content. If we were just trying to go through social networks, we wouldn't have this level of engagement with our videos and our picture stories. The other thing about Outbrain is that we've been able to create content and distribute it. And our campaigns, because we've actually looked at a lot of the analytics, we know what works, what's not working, and we've managed to not necessarily invest a lot per campaign, but we're getting very smart with the money that we spend. Outbrain helps Visa be everywhere we want to be.
Cool. So I hope that gives you a good overview of the concept of content discovery and how you can integrate it into any of your distribution plans. What we wanted to then share with you now is just some tips and tricks on how you should be amplifying your video. So there are three big steps to this. The first is how to get people to click. And we spoke a bit about headlines and images when Caroline was presenting on YouTube. We'll share with you some information on there as well. We'll talk about how the first 15 seconds of your video are very, very critical to capturing an audience who continues to watch it. And then, of course, we'll talk about what to measure. Okay, so first, even video producers have to write good copy. So why do we say this? There are many, many times when we'll get video that someone wants to amplify in our network, and the headline or the title, they've spent so much time and effort producing their video, but for some reason the headline or the title has just, had zero creative input. They might call it, I don't know, SK2 Change Destiny Final, or something really weird like that. And so what we'd like to make sure you do is actually make sure that when you're amplifying your content, that you're producing really good headlines for it. So here's a few examples, and this is all based on a study that our business intelligence folks ran on about 1 million headlines, and so there is a bit of science to it. For instance, when you're writing a headline and trying to promote your video, lists get clicks and odd numbers perform better than even numbers. We don't know why, but that's just what it is. So something like 11 stunning fashion tips for powerful men versus great fashion tips for powerful men. This one on the left performs better. Again, we don't know why. We're not psychologists. Questions help entice readers to want the answer. What are your favorite foods of the best athletes? It piques curiosity. Or, something really simple like including your target audience in your headline. And this is quite important. We work a lot with brands that are trying to reach new parents. And then they'll write a headline like top 5 running tips you should know, and they're wondering why they're not getting the right customer to them. But a simple tweak like, expecting mothers, here are 5 running tips just for you. It's a very clear indication of who the article is for, and so then you're attracting the right audience to that. Make sense so far? Yeah. Okay, then images are the same thing. And again, you guys are visual creators, so you shouldn't have any problems with this. Please do not use clip art. The amount of time we just see people who have just produced, taken so much time to produce this video and suddenly it's amplifying it with clip art. It's weird. So please don't do that. Photos on the left always perform much better. Also don't, yes, William?
Sorry, is that don't use clip art or don't use illustrations?
Don't use clip art. Don't use clip art. Illustrations are all right. Maybe if you're promoting Batman, I'm not sure. Send this to us, we'll look at it. All right, second one, photographs work better than images. Some clients will insist on using their logo. If that's the case, just make sure you A/B test so that you run something that does not have a logo so that you can prove in 2 days to them that their logo actually reduces clicks. It works every time. Use a photograph. And also, close-ups work better than vague, cluttered images. And all of this is context, right? Like someone is looking at the page, and as Caroline was saying, for YouTube, these kinds of things are how people look at things online. By the way, we do have this on a URL, and so let me know if you'd like the whole study. We're happy to send that to you. Okay, clickbait. Just don't do clickbait. Okay, I know we sound like some people are saying you guys just do clickbait, but actually, no, we reject clickbait. Here's an example of clickbait. There's a secret island where wild pigs swim with humans, and you must go there now. Okay, so this might work to get clicks, but it's not going to get you people who engage. It's definitely not going to get you people who are going to become a customer for you, except maybe the guys at Distractify who are really just driving page views, right? That's their thing. So a few things. So this again is based on a study of 1 million headlines. The word secret reduces engagement by 60%. The word now reduces engagement by 71%. Okay, if you want a cheat sheet, we have a really fancy, overly produced graph that shows you which words reduce engagement by how much percent. All right, so again, this is part of a bigger study. Happy to send you the full thing. Or you can take pictures now, that's cool too. All right, okay, so those are some headline and image tips. Okay, so then, the first 15 seconds is always the hardest. Does anyone know what this is, or has anyone seen this before? This is a company called Wistia, which does video analytics. What you're seeing on these orange is the length of video. So 3 to 4 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, 20 minutes in length. What you're seeing on the left is the rate of video engagement. So they did this study to try and figure out where people dropped off on a video. And as it turns out, okay, the drop-off when someone starts to watch your video is quite steep. And what they've learned essentially is that people decide in the first 15 minutes whether or not to watch your entire video. And if they do decide to watch your video, they tend to watch all the way to the end. which is really, really useful and really, really interesting. So I'm sure you got a whole day yesterday of people telling you how to tell stories. It's because you only have 15 minutes to get someone's attention after they click on your beautifully well-crafted headline, obviously.
15 seconds.
Yes. Well, sorry, 15 seconds, yes, not 15 minutes. Yeah, but then the good news also is that once they've done that, then they will continue to watch. I mean, like the line goes pretty flat right away. So that's good. All right, so that's tip number 2. And then the third and last tip we had for you today was what not to measure. So this is a picture of, well, traffic, yes. It could be in, I don't know where it is actually. It might be India. Okay, cool. So this is what not to measure. Why do we say let's not measure traffic? Because traffic actually drives no commercial intent. And why do I say that? So every day we will get a brief and we will say, what is your objective? And someone will say, we want traffic or we want views. But actually, that's not really what people want. That's what they think they want. And so when you get the brief that says we want traffic, the next question you have to ask is, what kind of traffic do you want? Because really what you want are people who will want to watch the video, people who might want to then connect with your brand, people who want to learn more about your product, people who will eventually become a customer for you. That's what we really want. And so what we really want is to measure actions on what we call the path to commercial intent. Now, we're not going to go deep into this. I think Matt and Caroline had already spoken about this earlier, but have a look at this guy's blog, Avinash Kaushik. He literally wrote the book on web analytics. And so if you only have one person that you want to read analytics about, it's this guy. And he already fleshes out an entire measurement strategy that goes everything from, the funnel, basically, for getting people to see your brand, getting people to think about your brand, getting people to act, and then getting people to care and be loyal. All right, that's his name, Avinash Kaushik. Highly recommended. And so where does that leave us? When people say to us, so what content really works on your platform? All we really say is, okay, you can have all of these left brain and tactical and data-driven metrics, but if you are able to tell a story at the intersection of what your brand value is and what a customer cares about, then you're far and away already ahead. Okay, so that's where you want to be. That's like, you need to understand the brand, you need to understand the audience, find the intersection of what they should care about. Okay, and so end to end then, we wanted to show you examples of that. So, as I understand it, you guys are going to get a brief from acuvue.
They've had one.
You got one yesterday from Sebastian. Yes? Not very memorable. Okay, so then what we thought was, we do have acuvue videos running on our platform. Would you like to see that? And then we also have something from Transitions, which is not an exact competitor, I guess, but in a very similar space. Both of them have run content on Outbrain in the last 6 months. So we thought it might be useful for you guys to share, to look at and see. Hopefully it inspires you as you produce on the brief. So I think first is the Transitions video.
Orang Bali, filosofi orang Bali itu percaya bahwa kalau kita mau memiliki kehidupan yang baik, kita harus punya 3 hubungan yang baik. Hubungan yang pertama yaitu dengan Tuhannya atau penciptanya. Hubungan yang kedua itu dengan sesama kita. Hubungan yang ketiga itu dengan lingkungan. Persembahan itu atau canang itu sendiri adalah simbol dari rasa terima kasih kita kepada alam semesta dengan segala isinya yang sudah kita nikmati. Ya, setelah melakukan, saya berangkat ke sekolah, jalan kaki. Nama saya Made Chandra Parwati. Saya bekerja di Green School sebagai guru bahasa Indonesia. Pada misi Green School itu adalah untuk mencetak generasi muda yang peduli lingkungan. Anak-anak memiliki pengalaman bagaimana mencintai alamnya. Setiap hari saya datang ke sini yang membuat saya merasa luar biasa. Jadi di sekolah ini tuh tidak ada perasaan kamu di luar ruangan atau di dalam ruangan. Kali kegiatan saya yang saya lakukan di luar ruangan. sebagai guru di green school yang mengharuskan saya selalu aktif di dalam ruangan atau di dalam kelas ataupun di luar kelas, memiliki lensa ini membuat saya sangat merasa beruntung, sangat membantu sekali penglihatan. Tempat favorit saya di green school itu jembatannya. Saya mengajak anak-anak ke sana biasanya untuk ya scavenger hunt, misalnya tanaman atau hewan. Sakit, tetapi dengan menggunakan kacamata ini, lensa transisi ini, saya tidak perlu khawatir lagi dengan silau atau sinar yang terlalu terang, karena dia langsung beraktivasi sendiri untuk menyesuaikan dengan keadaan pencahayaan yang berbeda. Kegiatan saya banyak sekali di luar ruangan yang mengharuskan saya untuk mengekspos mata saya dengan cahaya. Dengan memiliki lensa transisi ini, membuat saya merasa aman untuk melakukannya, karena lensa transisi ini melindungi mata saya. Lensa biasa itu biasanya membuat mata saya sakit dan kemudian berair. Sangat susah menjelaskan tempat favorit saya di Bali karena banyak sekali tempat yang sangat bagus. Tetapi kalau saya boleh memilih, saya pilih pantai. Saya sangat suka sekali ke pantai. Kembali lagi bahwa ya ini yang harus kita lakukan.
Alright, so that was transitions. They ran that across Southeast Asia, and they had something in Australia as well. And they were really just pushing a new type of adaptive lens. The one we'll do next, which is the last video of the day, is acuvue, and this actually ran just in February.
As a chef artist, I appreciate beauty and intricate details, which is why I love how acuvue defines sophisticated design, accentuates my eyes by adding highlights and depth. Besides my sense of taste, my eyesight is the next most important sensory faculty. I need a clear vision when working on these delicate pieces, so I choose to wear the best contact lens, just like how I insist on using the best ingredients. As an entrepreneur, I need to constantly lead and inspire my team. My eyes play a big part in conveying my vision, communicating ideas, and connecting with the people I work with. Since I'm always rushing in between meetings, it's important to keep them healthy by protecting them from the sun. Even after a long day, they still feel so moist and comfortable. When you feel at ease and in control, confidence comes naturally.
They were tracking e-vouchers off the back of that, sampling, basically. All right, so that's all we had for you today. I hope that was a useful introduction to content discovery for long-form videos. And remember, we'll be interested if you produce something interesting. Thank you very much.